2011, a couple of mercenaries escaped the back streets of Junction, still wanted by the masses. If you can find them, maybe you can call the late team, the voices of Reading.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, it's that time of the night again. It's gone 9:30. We are the late team on Wanuma FM 95.6. That time of the week again comes around very quickly, mashallah. Sign of the times, I suppose. In the studio we have brother Mo, we'll hear from in a minute, and obviously brother Julian. We're waiting for brother Barber, who's boxing down the road at the moment. Inshallah, he'll be joining us. Tonight's subject, I'm sure involves, or people can relate to it, is Pride and Prejudice in sport. That is all sports. Is that correct, Julian? Or are we just restricting it?
You're spot on, Sogi. No, all sports, and got a very exciting topic, I think. Pride and Prejudice in sport. We've got a professional sports coach here. He'll tell us a little bit about himself in a minute. Sogi, are you a sportsman? I know our other presenter is currently boxing. What's your
specialist subject? Football.
Yeah. Well, we'll come to that later on.
Okay.
We're going to have a little bit of a quiz. You can go home or away.
Okay. Well, you can. I don't mind. Comfortable, home or away.
I advise you to go home.
Okay, home it is. Okay, let's get brother Mo in here. Mo, can you give us a bit of background, who you are, what you're about, and what sport you specialise in?
Oh, well, the sport I specialise in is hockey, and I've been coaching it for about 7 years now. I've been playing it for about 15 years, in and around the community and nationally and internationally. Don't get that mistaken for having gotten international caps. I've just been abroad to play.
Wow, good credentials. Who do you play for? The local club?
At the moment, I represent Guildford Hockey Club out in Surrey, which is one league below the Premier.
Okay, is that pro level?
It's an amateur sport, so I wouldn't say it's pro.
Oh, is it still an amateur sport? Wow, I didn't know that. That was a great question.
Well, there you go. But that's interesting. If we start there, what qualifies as an amateur sport? Because if you look at the Olympics, it's meant to be amateur sports, but you've got millionaire sportsmen playing international sport. What is it, Mo, that makes a sport an amateur sport? Why has hockey got amateur status when there are people, I presume, that you make your living from it?
I make my living from coaching, they're not playing.
Okay. So but are there people that through sponsorship are making a living through playing hockey?
Now there is, yeah. Over the last 5 years, probably, it's grown quite exponentially.
Sorry, must be true.
That's fine. There's actually, the IPL cricket over in India. There's now a HIL, Hockey India League, which is the hockey version of it. And there's a lot of players actually making a lot of money out there from it. In and around Europe, there are professional leagues, like there's one in Holland. It's quite a professional league in Germany and Spain. But other than that, there's no real professional leagues. There are a few professional players in this country, and mainly going towards the GB group, Great Britain group.
And is that the Olympic team?
That's what's set up to become the Olympic team. Currently, outside of Olympic cycle. So the Olympic cycle is 4 years long, but they usually prepare for that like within 2 years. Previous to that, it'll be Scotland, England, and Wales.
Okay. And if we're calling it Pride and Prejudice in sport, to kick off the prejudice, do you think that things like the Olympic Committee are prejudiced against certain sports? I mean, we almost lost wrestling from the Olympics, and it's been reinstated. Thank God. Yeah.
What was that about it?
Well, it wasn't generating enough interest, or I've got no clue why they would want to get wrestling, one of the oldest Olympic sports, out of the Olympics, but they did. One
of the original.
Yeah, exactly. And you've got obviously hockey. It has that Olympic status. Has that ever been called into question? Has that been ever brought into doubt?
It's actually just been. It's just survived. It was going to go out in 2020. I think 2020
Really?
Olympics.
Wow.
It was about to. Yeah, there was a vote.
I thought it was world-renowned hockey.
Well, exactly, and so is wrestling. But I don't know who is making these decisions. But they're obviously deciding one sport is preferential over another if it makes more money, or if it.
Wrestling being individual, I can understand the lack of interest considering numbers, but like a field sport like hockey, massive in India, massive in Pakistan, massive in, I thought GB won a
It's the
medal.
second largest participation sport in this country.
Is that right?
Largest?
Second largest after football.
I'll guess
Is
football.
that fact?
Yeah.
Wow.
Over rugby
Yeah, because there's
and cricket?
well with
Wow.
hockey you've got women and you've got men, don't you?
Okay.
Whereas
True,
rugby
so, yeah.
is majority men,
Yeah.
cricket same.
Yeah, I mean, talking of what the Olympics consider important and not important, and I'm glad that hockey has survived. A friend of mine made this very good point to me. He's of an Iranian background, and he's proud Iranian. And he said, "Have you noticed how the sports that the Americans and Europeans dominate in? There's about 100 different medals for that. You can get the 100 meter swimming, 200 meter swimming, 400 meter swimming, 1,000 meter swimming. You can get 20 gold medals just for swimming about. But if you're a weightlifter, you could do the clean and jerk and a snatch, and they put it together for one gold medal. And obviously Iran, among other countries, excel in this sport, but they get one gold medal for it. And but you can, if you're a good swimmer, you might get 20 medals.
You could, yeah.
So I think there's definitely a bias from that perspective. Is hockey just one gold for men, one gold for women?
Yeah.
Right to the top level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know where these biases come from. I don't know who's in control, but I think you can never be neutral in sport. And if you look at the sports that are done in this country, sport is meant to be about bringing people together. But even just minutes ago, when we were off air, you guys were talking about did you play hockey, did you play rugby, and you said, well, it depends what school you went to. So how can you have a national team if, I know hockey is the second most widely played sport, but how can you have a national team if not every kid in the nation is getting a chance to try the sport?
That comes down to opportunity, doesn't it, and which demographic you've been born into. But I think the Pride and Prejudice part of this would be looking at your own community and whether the children in our community are getting that opportunity, whether they have opportunity to play hockey, badminton, whatever sport it is, and whether they have, whether they're supported from an internal structure. By an internal structure, I just mean by family.
You don't just mean family.
You do. Let's start with family.
Okay, start with family.
Yeah.
Was sport a big thing in your family? Were you pushed into it?
Not at all.
Okay.
It's quite the opposite, I think, because I was the black sheep, pretty much.
Okay.
Everybody
So the
else
fact
had
that you
other
wanted to
careers.
be involved in sport made your family think, well, you should be doing something else instead, or you should be studying instead of
They encourage me
playing
to
hockey.
do other things
Okay.
aside from sport. They don't really understand it or see where it's going. And I think that's something that needs to be addressed within our particular, I use indented comma, our particular community, because I think the community is Reading rather than anything else.
Okay, interesting. But to expand upon what I think you're alluding to, is there a cultural factor there?
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm going.
Hockey,
would you agree?
Is very, very big in the Asian community. But what surprises me here, I never really seen, well, I tell a lie, a few years back I see a few brothers playing in Palmer Park.
I would have been part of that.
How's it?
Yeah, that would have been Reading Eagles back in the day.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, they played, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm walking past, I'm going to play football and I see a few brothers there playing hockey. Apart from that, I never really seen it advertised, played. The other time where Reading ever got mentioned on a hockey basis, where I remember, is on watching the Olympics. And I think it was a women's game and one of the women's represented Reading Hockey Club.
Yeah, I mean, in the current GB squad, I think there's about 5 players that play at Reading.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I might even be
Wow.
under-exaggerating there. Maybe up
So
to 7
what
or 8.
is it bigger around here then, or is it me that because I don't take notice of it and must be missing it?
Do you know what's funny about that? Reading women, over the last 3-4 years, have just been into the Premier League, just gotten into the Premier League, and they're playing in Europe at the moment, having
So they're
won the
fairly
Premier
big
League. Yeah, and Reading men have for the last 20 or so years been in the Premier League
Of
and been
hockey?
playing in Euro as well. Yeah, they've won. I mean,
didn't
2 years
know
ago
that.
they were the national champions.
Well, Reading was.
Yeah, and
So how
last
come-
year the girls were
How
national
come I don't
champions.
see this advertised or in the local paper or press or on the TV? Is it because it's amateur sport and it gets overlooked?
I don't know. It depends which papers you read, I suppose. I mean, we've got a lot of coverage in the Telegraph recently.
Now, what about local paper like Get Reading?
I
mean,
think-
if Reading is in the Premier League, i.e.
Of something,
as football, I mean, you see the back page is full of football, so you would have thought hockey would be represented somewhere along the line.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it in Get Reading, actually. I
little
think
clip.
3 pages in from the back.
Yeah, little clips here and
Yeah,
there,
very
but
small
not,
clips.
but not as big as like you make out, you know. So I don't know.
We're talking bronze medalists here.
Yeah, well,
Olympic bronze
yeah.
medalists.
So ain't no joke, is it?
Absolutely. Do you feel that if hockey was better represented in the press, is that going to do anything for it? I mean, sometimes the press have a very negative effect on sport. Every time the World Cup comes around and the press starts saying, "Oh, England are definitely going to win this time. It's 1966 all over again." It puts the pressure on England. It makes the fans kick off when England go out on penalties in the quarter-final, always. Is having sports coverage what you want, or is it about the right kind of coverage or exposure?
What do you mean by right kind of coverage?
Well, not the tabloid sensationalist
Like, kids
hockey
on
coach
the
has
yeah.
affair with player, that that kind of, for example.
Who cares? I mean, it's that kind of thing, isn't it? Ooh, hockey, you know.
Any publicity is good publicity.
Well, I think we've got quite a range of role models within our sport who are all, if not all, mostly positive. So I don't think that's an issue, a question. But certainly,
But
more
is
exposure.
the amateur status helping that? If a hockey player started earning Wayne Rooney type wages, is he going to stay humble? Is he going to be that role model? Is he going to blow it on prostitutes and hair transplants and I don't know what else Wayne Rooney spends his money on?
From an outside perspective, not of the sport, not of hockey, because obviously I've got a massive inside perspective of that, but from an outside perspective of footballers,
Yeah.
whether you look at a international footballer or whether, just the other day actually, my girls who are coaching, I was going onto the pitch straight after it looked like an under-18 football team's game, and it was our pitch time, it was our booking, and I just politely asked the guys if they could, remove themselves so that they wouldn't get hurt.
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, we will do. And it took them 10 minutes to get off. And then I was asking them nicely again. They're like, yeah, we heard you. And one of the younger boys swore at me. I'm like,
Wow.
How are you going to represent your club like that? So, I think it's a culture that needs to be blended from football to hockey to rugby to cricket. I mean, you look at...
I don't think that's. I think it's like I say, education starts at home. I think you can't. Not everyone's a Wayne Rooney, and not everyone's gonna spend their money like the norm. Everyone's, it's an individual would do individual things. So.
But we're not talking about Wayne Rooney here, are we?
No.
We're talking about grassroots football there.
Yeah.
Under 18
Okay.
boys.
I mean, I do kids football, have done kids football, I do men's football. Any swearing, I don't tolerate it. Whether it's to the opposition, out of frustration, you people swear, acceptable, but not to their teammates or just to cause a hoo-ha, you know?
Mm-hmm.
To me, that I say that spreads like cancer. And if one does it, the other does it, and it's just horrible to be around, and it doesn't make any sense, considering it's only supposed to be a fun Sunday morning, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So,
Well, I don't want to have a pop at Wayne Rooney in particular, or even grassroots football. There used to be an expression comparing rugby with football, and I'm trying to get this right.
Do you mean rugby is a sport
played by
gentlemen?
yeah, it's got it.
You know where I'm going with this.
Okay, football is a sport played by gentlemen and watched by thugs, and rugby is a sport played by thugs and watched by gentlemen. And this is a very
slightly different from that, isn't it? A thug sport played by gentlemen and a gentleman sport played.
Well, you say potato, whatever. I say tomato. But the point is, this is a class stereotype that it's the masses, the great unwashed, dirty, scuzzy masses that play football, whereby the public schoolboys and the toffs play rugby, which is actually a rough sport where you can trample on someone and gouge their eye out and get a sin bin for 10 minutes.
Unfair,
Football, you can push someone over and you're a red card and you've got a match ban as well. Tell me why I'm being unfair,
because
Mo.
I think football is easier accessible. It just takes one round ball, 2 goalposts made by jumpers. Rugby, you need a field.
You need a funny shaped ball for rugby.
You need funny shaped balls as well. You need access to that. But
you need access. You need to be a middle. You need to be a middle class or upper class toff that goes to a school that plays rugby. But every kid up and down the country has had a kickabout. In the old days, it was with a pig's bladder, and everyone was involved. Soggy remembers it. Well, am I wrong? Is this not class stereotyping? Is this not class warfare? The reason why the kids that don't have access to rugby is because they didn't go to the right school.
no, it's like everything else. If you want to play rugby, there's a lot of clubs out there, and you know it's down to the parents. If you're a kid up and coming and you want to play rugby, you tell your dad, look, I want to play rugby, and your father will take you to the club. There's plenty of clubs already for rugby. It's down to the individual. If you want to do kickboxing, there's kickboxing classes, hockey classes, football classes.
But which one's readily available?
They all are, if you look into it.
I don't know if Mo agrees. I think football is more readily available
Because it's the most demanded sport out there, isn't it? You know,
it's the most popular,
yeah, of course it is, and it's the most played, without a shadow of a
followed
doubt.
by hockey, apparently. But
Apparently,
you need a stick for that.
You know, I've never seen hockey. This is what I'm saying. It amazes me. I mean, you know, you go Sunday mornings when I go to football like that, you'll see obviously people playing football, and you'll see little other activities like mini football and other stuff going around. But I've never seen anyone playing hockey, which is amazes me. You know, so hearing from the brother there. So either you know, even Berkshire County Sports down the road, we're ready Sonning Lane, where I would have thought.
that's exactly where it is.
Yeah, but I never see it.
The pitches.
That's right.
There's
I've seen
a
the pictures
cricket
there,
pitch, isn't there, for
that's
Reading
right, yeah.
Cricket Club? It's Reading Hockey Club as well.
But I've never seen anyone play hockey. That's what I'm saying. That's amazing. When did they play? Is it a summer sport?
No, it's a winter sport.
Yeah, exactly.
Why was hockey invented, Mo?
Yeah. Pardon?
Why was hockey invented?
That's a good guided question.
I really want to know. I'm just thinking.
It's actually the winter sport for cricket
Aha.
out season.
Did you know that, Soggy?
What's that?
In winter, you telling Mo?
The cricketers who had a break, obviously, during the winter,
They
needed
took to
something
hockey.
to do. They took to hockey. Hockey. That's where hockey.
Is that a
came from.
fact? Is it?
I'm going to go with folklore at the moment.
Oh, okay.
But
What's-
if you'd like to research it, and
No, I mean I play cricket, but never understand hockey.
but then you couldn't really say that for women's hockey, could you? Which was bigger,
There
I
you go,
suppose.
exactly.
So,
Wow.
Okay, listen to 95.6 FM. This is a late show. We are the late show. The subject tonight is Pride and Prejudice in sport. We have Brother Mo in the studio, a professional coaching athlete in the field of hockey.
In the field, Literally.
The field of hockey. Yes, you heard right, hockey. So if anyone out there wants to get involved with hockey, or their child's been asking you about hockey, we get in touch with Mo here, and I'm sure you can point you in the right direction. So shall we carry on with the discussion? If you want to join in, you can text in. I apologise, the phone lines in the studio are down. I don't know why.
I've got an anonymous text here, Soggy. Footy is far more available, obviously. Don't need a club to join. Just go to the park.
Yeah,
is it as simple as that?
Yeah, of course it is. If you go, it's like, again, I'm coming back to Sunday mornings because the only time I'm in the park, you'll see the 3 courts at Pound Park full. I'm on about full, it's on 6 or 7 side courts, and they're like 10 sides on 3 courts on their own. So, which is amazing, and as well as the park pitches being full to the brim.
But that's recreational sport. That's not organised. That's not going to make you a professional, is it?
No, but I mean
amateur
or
an amateur.
Yeah.
No, but I'm just saying, like the text said, just go into the park, but he just wants to go there for keep fit or recreation, just to have a kick around with mates. But if you want to go pro into anything, you've got to start at the age of 5, 6 this day and age. You want to be amateur rugby.
I disagree with that because I started at the age of 14.
But you're in an amateur sport.
I've gone to the highest level though, apart from international. I've played Champions League, the equivalent.
But no disrespect to the sport, is an amateur sport. There's a lot of people that started late that have gone into, like with football, they've gone into the amateur level.
Well, the 100 metres is an amateur sport. Tell that to Usain Bolt. I mean, this comes back to the amateur status in sports. And I think it goes back historically. The amateur sports were the sports that were played by the rich people because they didn't need the money.
That's right.
But football, which was played by the working class, they needed to get money from that sport if they could, and that's why professional football has been professional for much longer. Rugby union only became professional, I think, in the 1990s.
My point being there, I think it's going over the edge here, is if you want to be good at something, and you've got to start at an early age.
Okay, I take that point, but
due to technicality.
In general, yes, but I don't think being a professional equals being good, or being an amateur means you're not as good.
Wayne Rooney must be doing something right to be getting £300 a week.
Okay, but if Wayne Rooney was that's because football is a professional sport. Does that mean he's a better athlete than?
No, it just means he's a better footballer than most people out there.
I mean, okay, he's the best footballer, but
in his field, we're talking
the best hockey coach or the best hockey player will never earn that much because it's not a professional sport. Does that mean he's not the level, the equivalent, the Wayne Rooney level of hockey?
No, far from
it.
It's obviously that football's got the backing and the money in the system for him to get paid. It's just that. Old Trafford holds 75,000, 80,000 people. So they can afford to pay him, and obviously with sponsorship and merchandising, whatever, they can do that. It's sad, it shocked me that hockey is an amateur. I did not know that hockey was an amateur sport. I thought it was a professional sport. So we learn something new every day, which is
and like I said, I definitely think it goes back to class.
Even rugby
well,
union.
if you look at the split, I mean, if you want to talk about prejudice in sport. The split between rugby union and rugby league is a bitter rivalry.
Hit the nail on the head.
Go on then, Soggy.
No, you can't. Like I said, rugby union was amateur for a hell of a long time, for over 100 years.
So why was rugby league professional? Rugby league, which is more popular in the north of England.
I'm just going to say, it stems from up north, up north sides and. Not so much.
So it's a cultural thing, and people that switched from rugby union to rugby league were made to be outcasts. They were black sheep for making that switch.
Who wouldn't? Why wouldn't
for the money?
Why wouldn't you go for money?
Well, there you go. Does every sportsman have a price? Mo? Is there such a thing as principle?
If Mo was getting paid for playing hockey, he'd be playing it every day. You play it every day anyway.
Talking to sportsmen, How you doing, Baba? Where have you just come from?
Well, I've just come from a circuit training session just with the local kids and stuff. But I hear things as I've just walked in, and sounds pretty interesting, pretty deep. You lot going into all types of aspects. I mean, Soggy's basically said that amateur sport is not as significant as professional sport.
That's exactly what he said. He said he wants to challenge you to an amateur boxing match.
I mean, in all aspects of sport, or just
I'm exaggerating what he said. He didn't say that at all.
No, that's just it's a general comment out there. It's like, okay, let's put this to Mo. You're good at hockey and cricket, and cricket pays you a living. Will you play hockey because you love the sport, or will you play cricket because it pays you and it earns you a living?
It's a tough one. I guess that would come down to my personal circumstance at the time of making that choice. I mean, if we go with my personal story, like, I've played for a number of clubs because I've had to do what I've had to do at this time to fund myself.
Okay.
So,
you don't have a sponsor for your kit and what have you not?
I've got a kit sponsor, but that doesn't really carry me very far.
Obviously, no.
Because obviously I need a car to get around, etc., petrol, blah blah blah, and the rest of it. Not to mention you need your own strength and conditioning, you know, your own nutrition. There's so many factors of it. So,
how do you go about getting this? I
haven't been able to.
Why not?
I've just had to fund it myself.
Have you pushed it out there? Have you advertised yourself?
Yeah, I've certainly asked, but I've not been an international player, and I think that's the difference between getting funding and not getting funding in my sport. I mean, my friend's actually is doing MMA professionally, UFC, right? I'm not talking about you, Julian, but
amateur.
Yeah, and he's managed to get a lot of funding, a lot of sponsorship from nutrition, from physios, etc., etc.
Is that because he's on TV and he can advertise it everywhere?
It's not on TV.
That's what I'm saying. So why is he getting it? What is he giving back to the sponsors that are sponsoring him?
Because he's, I guess, getting a lot of viewings from
where?
Not from TV, but from events.
So how come you're not doing events and advertising yourself out there?
Team sport.
Right.
That's right. No, you can do personalise yourself on YouTube. You can have your own YouTube station as a mobile such and such. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just questioning why.
Well, you can't just get a sponsor like that, Soggy.
You want to bet?
Talking of which, are we still looking for one?
Well, the show is, yeah. I mean,
that's what I'm talking about.
I mean, wherever, I don't know. Maybe I've just been lucky for my Sunday football team. I've asked a couple of people, and I got. It's what can you do for me? And I've given them get ready. I've given them spreads in the Post, Evening Post. You know, like 2 full pages of the sponsorship, why they're sponsored, who they're sponsoring. I mean, maybe I'm lucky in a field where I advertise the ethnic football team. You know, it's a give back to the community. Where it's very rare that you get Pakistani brothers playing football, and like to have 15, 20 of them. It's like, you know, when we turn up, I think the shock factor's gone out because we're renowned now. It's like when we turn up and people go, Pakistanis, and they just start laughing at you until we play them off the park.
Wow.
And then they want to do the underhand tactics. But
you've brought it up, so let's talk about the racial segregation in sport. I've been a teacher in various schools, and sometimes in some places at lunchtime you will see, I'm going to stereotype here, Asian kids playing cricket all together and white and black kids playing football. To what extent is that a reality? Is that present in hockey, Mo? Is it a game for everyone? Is there a certain racial type that is going to play it? Do you get kids of different racial backgrounds playing hockey together?
Well, as Soggy mentioned before, it's a big sport in Pakistan and India, so I couldn't really say that there's a racial
hockey is just
difference.
second to cricket in Pakistan.
It's actually still the national sport in Pakistan.
I apologise.
That's okay.
That's
nobody knows. That's the funny thing, isn't it?
That's how big it is.
Yeah.
And you try taking your hockey away from Pakistan, they'll shoot you. You know, that's how big it is. So when the Olympics comes around, I'm always looking out for the Pakistani hockey team because they're usually half decent. And they're usually in the medals, aren't they?
Not for the last
few
good 15,
Not for the
20
last,
years.
yeah. I mean, that's not the last few years. No
Unfortunately,
wonder I didn't
yeah.
watch it. But yeah.
But then you've got to ask the question, when it's such a big sport back in Pakistan and India, why aren't there many more playing in this country? I think it might come down to priorities. From this is where I wanted to go with the Pride and Prejudice. Priorities from parents. Parents push education, whereas
First and foremost.
let's look at the England cricket team at the moment. There's a couple in the squad, a couple of Indians, Ravi Bopara, and
Oh, where Shah's not there. The other one is you got Papara, you got the I can't think
Spinner.
of his name.
Text in if you know.
But yeah, why aren't there more challenging in teams around the country? In the county teams or the leagues around. Why should there be English teams and Asian teams? It should be
Unified mix.
just a challenge for spots, really. And in
Well-
hockey, there's very few. There's a few Asian teams around, but there's
not mixed.
No, there's not many mixed.
Why do you think that is? Do you play the mixed team or do you play the Asian?
I play in an English team,
Uh-huh.
predominantly. Well, I am the only Asian in that team.
Okay.
I've played for Slough, who have been predominantly Asian, but mixed at times. I've played for other Asian teams, like there's a team in West London called Indian Gymkhana, who are currently one league below. Do you know it?
I know their football team.
Yeah, the football team will be based in the same place in Osterley. Yeah, and they've got a cricket team there as well.
There's some awesome Indian footballers out there. Well, growing up, Indian Gymkhana were one of the better ones that I know. I think they were. Why they weren't professionals at the time, as a kid growing up, seeing them, I don't know, it's just amazing. I'm going to come to that as well. It's a big thing in itself. Why aren't Asian people playing pro football?
Wow.
I mean, to me, there were some players out there at young age, 20, 22, Indian Gymkhana. So,
But I want to go back to the kids that are encouraged to play and the kids that aren't. I mean, at Indian Gymkhana, you will have a father who's now managing a son, and then their little one playing in the junior team, rather than someone like me who's just come through school, not been encouraged, but there are other people out there who I think should be encouraged to play sport as well. Sport is such a big thing in a person's life. I think it gives such a healthy balance. Education is so important, I believe in that, but you need to have a healthy balance with a social life as well as a sporting life.
recreational, you need that to keep fit, to keep healthy, to keep your
mentally
mind
healthy
sane.
as well. Yeah.
It teaches you a hell of a lot, team sport. It integrates nations, integrates colours, integrates humanity. Coming back to my experience here, I went to Maiden early in 1983, and the only reason I got accepted in that school, I got in the first week, is they look at me and look, John, there's a curry muncher, and all that. The only reason they accepted me was because I could play football. I was at Reading at the time, and because I could play football, it's like, oh, you're all right, son, you're just the rest of them. And because I could play cricket, and don't ball fast to me, and that's the only thing that won me over. I mean, they're best of mates now. I mean, all of them, as we grow up, they realise that brown colour skin does exist in this country, but in them days, it was like, wow, I used to come home crying. I used to be traumatised. It's my first form of bullying ever. They look at you, and they, 3-4 of them, and look at you, laugh in your face.
Well, I've got a text on the topic, for an anonymous text about a guy and his brother who played football growing up in Reading, and the brother didn't get played anywhere near as much as he should have, and I'm certain it's because he's not white. We had it all our lives. Asians don't get a look in football, or at least they didn't in my day. So, is it the racism factor? Is that why there are no, or there's hardly been any Asians playing Premier League football? Is it as simple as that?
I think Mo hit the nail on the head when he said it. He loved the game of hockey, hence pursuing it and going away and doing his own thing. Like myself, I've never My parents, mashallah, were absolutely great and never stopped me from doing anything. But whereas football was concerned, I loved the game of football. And I used to walk miles on ends, like to Shinfield Park, when I used to play for Shinfield and Solihull.
We've got a whole team just arrived. We can have a match.
And Solihull, because I liked playing football. You know, that's from the age of 30, from the age of 13, 14. But, you know, that's just my passion for football. So, you know, if I had to walk 5 miles to play a game, I would do it.
So is it racism, or is it the culture of the community, or is it something else?
What we're talking about here?
The lack of Asian presence in the Premier League, for example, or maybe other sports as well. Underrepresentation.
Mo in his field, my level. When a kid gets to the age of 16, stroke 17, he knows it all. He's not listening. People that develop in life listen to their teachers and take things on board and take it further. But to a Pakistani stroke Asian kid out there, when he's 16, 17, and the coach tries telling him something, the ignorance and the arrogance cuts in. And, you know, they're allowed out, and other aspects of life cut in, i.e. girlfriends, i.e. going out, everything else comes around it. And that football thing, because you're not working hard, not concentrating on it, you fall away. As you know, to be a professional, you got to eat, drink, and shit.
Yeah.
What they tell you, you know, you got to learn. You got to learn every day.
No doubt.
I mean, I'm coming to Mo here as a professional and amateur sport.
From my experience of coaching, that arrogance factor is in between about 17 and 21, actually, right through uni as well. But then past uni, people start to realise that they need to learn again. So I think you should never stop learning.
That's right, but I'm just saying, in order to make it a professional here in football, if you're not any good at 15, 16, you're disregarded. You know, they don't want to know you. But if you know, there's a few brothers out there who got the ability to go further, but they don't want to listen. They know better.
Yeah.
So it's how you know, you've got to be.
Sometimes that's a defensive reaction, though. I mean, I know people who have gone to the Olympics at the age of 36 in a team sport, having never played internationally before. So I think people need to, rather than give up or quit or, you know, have a defensive reaction, they need to just take a deep breath and reassess their goals. I think goals are quite important as well, in terms of time goals and trying to push yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, it's all around education and the parent support.
Yeah.
You need all that in aspects in your life in order to pursue a career. I mean, the sport career is very short and very dedicated in that short. You know, not everyone's a Wayne Rooney, Daniel Sturridge, etc., 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 because it's a very short career. You know, football career at the top level is 12 to 14 years. That's at the very top. You know, if you're just coming in at the Premier, at the Championship and whatever amateur, it's 3-4 years at your peak and you'll disappear. So,
another text here, Soggy, anonymous. Brother Julian, I believe you will find Wii boxing is a professional sport played equally by all ethnic backgrounds and has a rich and respected history. Yeah, boxing on the Wii. Although it's anonymous, I think I know who that is. I once lost a boxing match on the Wii on a New Year's Eve, and it was a very unexpected upset. But is this the generation that we... I think that's a friend of mine.
That's a person.
But is this the generation that are playing more sports on the computer? I mean, we don't want to go back to the addiction we had last week. We'll end up wearing nappies. But is part of the problem that we'd rather play sport on the Wii than in the ring or elsewhere? I mean, that's kind of that's a problem for every community, right?
It is, but
continence pants while gaming.
We touched on that. Yeah.
Okay, coming into the studios full, mashallah. Baba, I like your haircut. What happened? Who did you go to, Jack?
Went to my barber.
Oh my God!
I went to the
It's buy one get 3 free, but it looks at the haircut to here. Okay, I'm coming to the thing that's massive in the news to you boxing fans. What happened to Amir Khan?
He's not going to get his shot at Mayweather.
What's that all about?
He's what happened? He was democratically elected to be the next challenger, and he didn't get it.
Well, Mayweather went out there and said to his Twitter followers, "Whoever you want me to fight next," and I think he won by 25,000 tweets. Amir Khan, he had a contract in place, and Mayweather's bought it.
Are they the same weight?
Yeah, well, it'd be a catch weight or whatever. Whether they was welterweight.
Not the same weight, but I mean
they could meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, in the middle somewhere. Yeah. Everything was signed, and.
Is that a fair fight though? Like,
On whose
I don't
part?
know that much about boxing, but
I've always said
in terms
it.
of weight,
Mayweather avoids speed fighters. I've been saying that for years.
So he's really scared. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he doesn't want to fight a guy with hand speed. I think the producers disagreeing with me.
No, I mean I think that's a big diss for someone that's up and well, I don't know how to put it, to be honest with you. For someone like Amir Khan, I mean, I think he just got played around, didn't he? So this is I'm saying Pride and Prejudice. Is it because he's a Pakistani? This is where I'm coming. This is what the subject's about. This is what I'm coming to. Why did Medina get the fight? This is what I'm coming. If you want me to say it black and white, I'm saying it black and white.
Is that what you think?
Or whatever his name is.
Mecca.
Yeah, call him Mecca.
It
as
could
well.
be that, but I think Floyd money Mayweather. He cares about the money, right? I think he's going where the money is, or where the guaranteed win is. Perhaps he wants to keep his record intact.
He's
Maybe
the one held batter without a shadow of a doubt. But I mean, I thought the fight with Amir would have generated more interest. Or I don't know much about boxing, so what's that all about? Why would he come out and say that and then disrespect him by signing a contract with someone else? I mean, to me, he just lost my respect. You can be a boxer or whatever, but if you're a man of your word, you stick to your word. Bring it on, whoever. He's put it out there on Twitter. Who do my fans want me to fight? And they said Amir Khan. So fight Amir Khan. God, that's your field, BA. What happened there?
Well, I don't know what happened, but I can just give my opinion on it.
I can tell you what happened. He chose to fight the other bloke.
Well, I mean, happened and why he didn't choose him. I think that Mayweather's got the best advisors in the business. He controls boxing. He does control boxing. That's how big he is. He's controlling the sport because.
That's fine, but why would he disrespect the fellow boxer?
Because you can. Because the thing is, all fighters, no matter what level they are, they want to fight Mayweather because not so much that they can beat him, because deep down they probably know that they can't, but it's for the opportunity to have that money, to make a huge amount of money, and you're basically set for life. And no matter what they say about Mayweather, the opponents, I know that deep down they'll have a great deal of respect for him because he's basically made them financially secure for life, and that's him basically. But there's other stuff that I really want to touch on. I know I came late and I probably missed the good bits, but we was talking a bit about amateur sports and professional sports and stuff like that. But from my experiences growing up, what advice would you give a youngster who hasn't got a voice, who can speak for him, who basically goes into a club alone, whatever club it might be, and maybe has aspirations to...
What sporting club we're talking about? Yeah?
Anything. It could be cricket, football, whatever it might be, tennis, whatever it might be, but they don't have a voice that can speak for them. They're pretty much on their own. How do the clubs look out for these sort of individuals? Because from my experiences, the clubs only really look after the kids that have voices speaking for them. That is the case.
Thank you.
A parent or guardian or some mentor coming with them, and building them up and pushing them, and saying to the coaches, this kid, he wants to try
Well,
it.
the people running it have a duty of care for all of the people that they're looking after.
But do you think that they do actually care like that?
Yeah, well, I've come across people who do, and you can genuinely see it, and you can see a good team spirit around there, and I've come across people who don't, who just care about winning and about their own reputation. And you can see that some kids react badly to that and start having behavioural issues.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot of nods from Soggy over here.
Yeah.
So I think
Soggy's
for
a
the
man
kids-
of many shattered dreams.
And nods and shakes.
It's never too late, Soggy.
I'll see you afterwards.
Personal trainer too. Anyway, for the kids that don't have voices, they need to ask questions. As in, you're saying they don't have voices, as in they don't have parents talking for them. They just need to ask and gather as much information as they possibly can from people around them. So whether that's their peers, whether that's coaches, or whether that's their peers' parents.
Okay, the other point I wanted to raise, I've got a few actually.
Can I just answer that one myself? You know, the kids that are talented, they don't need voices. They just need their talent.
I don't believe. No,
and
I
the-
don't believe.
And the
no.
coaches jump. A good coach can see, if you're going in there, you're a boxer. A good coach can see a talented boxer. A good coach with an eye for a football. I can spot a footballer a mile away. Hockey,
But
I'm sure.
unfortunately for that, there are different periods in your life where you develop.
That's right.
And so if you've got, let's
Yeah.
say, a team sport of 14, age 14, let's say, and you've got 3 talented boys in that group, will they carry on the coaching because they've got the eye of the coach? Will the coach concentrate more on them rather than the other 11 boys in that
No,
group?
me
That's the thing I would
personally,
worry
I would give those 3 boys more on a, you know, like you finish a training session, I would speak to them 3 boys more and give them an extra training session or tell them to come another time, etc., etc. I would work on their development. I
Just
wouldn't.
those 3, but then your duty
No, but I
of
wouldn't
care to the whole
disrespect.
group.
No, no,
surely.
the duty for care is all there. You know, everyone's equal. But if they're serious about their sport and they want to progress, then I would encourage them in a progression. and
That
would
comes
pass
back to
them on.
that arrogance factor. Let's say these 3, now this whole group has gone up to 17, and there's a group of 3 behind that first group of 3 who have grown. They're, at a decent level. They're catching up with those 3 talented, but these 3 behind those 3, the top 3, work harder and more determined and want to make it, whereas those 3 with ability,
But
they
then
know it all.
they'll fade away. If they know it all, they'll disappear.
But then-
Automatically disappear.
But then you've just wasted 3 years with those second.
No.
or
It's
3.
not me personally. I'm just saying. I would reckon. I would
Just
see.
for example.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but it's good to have a debate because if I would see someone decent, I would pass him on to a next person on a higher level. You know, I would say, look, you need to go to this class, and he'll develop you more. More than welcome to come back, but you got to be on an equal level to play. If you're playing hockey, for example, and you're running with the ball past 10 players and scoring, there's no fun for you, is there? So you want to play with someone on equal level.
Where it's challenging, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Where it's more competitive. What fun is it picking the ball up and running past 10 players and scoring? This is what I'm saying with the ability with football is you get certain kids that are so quick they just walk past and it's absolutely pointless having them there. So you move them on. This is what I'm saying. But I wouldn't highlight them as any way different than anyone else apart from on the ability level. Hence, where they speak for themselves and pass them on. Sorry, but yeah, crack on.
I forgot what I was going to say then.
You had a few more questions to ask regarding the issues.
If I could remember. Yeah, the other thing I wanted to raise was where we're talking about what's the word? Prejudice. Sorry, I can't pronounce it. I was calling it racism. Yeah. Why is it that ethnic minorities have to try harder to get noticed within sports coming up?
What is your where did you get that from?
Well, I mean, Soggy, you've said many times on the show and, away from the show that, there's not many Asians in football.
That's a fact.
Is that a case of they haven't got no talent or they haven't got the work ethic? Because, Asians have got that sort of reputation of being lazy. Or is it just a fact that, they're not welcome?
How many professional Asian athletes are there out there in the UK. Probably be able to count them on one hand. So I think by the numbers.
Yeah,
That
but why is that? I mean, is it down to? I mean, I believe a lot of it is down to, yes, you know, if you're talented, talent cannot be held down. You know, regardless of what race you are, you know, sooner or later it will come through. But yes, you got to try harder. But does the Asian community have that work ethic in them to keep going at it?
That's to you, man.
Well, that comes down to culture, doesn't it? And you mentioned lazy and reputation. Where does that come from? And for me, yes, you have innate abilities and innate tendencies, but you also learn a lot from the culture around you, from the society around you. You're built from that. So, is it within the Asian culture? I don't know, because, you know, we have enough experience with the English culture to learn from there as well. So you'd have to look into that a lot further.
There are people that will say, and I'm not one of them, but you will find Darwinists or whatever that will say, well, it's genetic. The Asians are just they're not built for this. They're not built to withstand a Premier League football match. They should stick to their cricket. What do you think of that view?
I do agree, because going back, I mean, even if you go back 15 years, 15 years ago, it was very rare to see Asian youth, especially in physical sport. I mean, they played cricket or hockey or football, but I'm talking about physical sport where they would build their bodies up physically to take punishment and give punishment. That's all sport, you know. It was very rare, but in the last, you know, decade or so, you know, you're seeing it more and more.
What is that? That's proving that it's not then innate or genetic.
No,
that it was cultural, or are you saying it is?
Well, I mean, I remember when I was younger, and I had one older gentleman. I can't forget it. He said to me, you know, Asians were always known not to be athletic in his time. You know, they're not known for that. You know, they're not known to be physical people. So maybe, you know, that's going back in the past, and now maybe time's changing. But it all still comes down to the work ethic. And because of, you know, Asians predominantly or generally, they're very close-knit with their families. They have a lot of family support. So they don't, generally, some people nod in their head, but... you know, they have that family support and stuff like that. So maybe, you know, they're a little bit spoiled too. You know, where they know that they've always got something to fall back on. Oh, don't worry about it, you know, Dad's going to give me a house, or, you know, I've got this sorted, or whatever. Because Dad's out there got about 15 houses.
Is it fair to say that certain races are predisposed to be better at certain sports? Does anyone disagree with that?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a fairly fair
If you're talking
comment.
athletics here, I think it speaks for itself, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm talking sports in general.
Why do you classify athletics as sport?
Which athletics?
Athletics.
Sprinting.
As in track and field?
Track and field.
Why does that stand out to you more than any other?
Because 95 is dominated by the Africans.
Okay, but swimming is 95% dominated by the Europeans.
Is that track and field?
No, but you've highlighted track and field as being a black-dominated sport.
Yeah.
I'm highlighting swimming as being a white-dominated sport.
Because of, you said Eastern European, we know why that is. A lot of illegal substances put in their bodies there.
Right.
If you take that part away from it, they're built for that sport, and
communism was built on steroids, mate.
You know, to me, or weightlifting. Look, to me, that sounds to me like when black people dominate a sport, it's genetics, but when a white man's doing well, he must be on steroids. That's what that sounded like to me.
No, you're better than that, Julian.
That's what it sounded like.
No, what's his name? Ben Johnson? Was it Ben Johnson? Yeah. In 1998 in the LA when he won 100 metres.
Okay, well, I asked...
We'd take him away. He disgraced his nation and his ancestors, didn't he? There's no need for him to do that.
Well, he was a Canadian. The minute he took steroids, he was a Jamaican Canadian.
Yeah, of course he was.
But,
that's what my point.
Yeah, but when I bring up the subject of do certain races dominate a certain sport, you immediately mentioned athletics. And
statistics
you
I'm
will-
going by. You know, I mean, come on.
All I'm saying is that
Let's go into history for the last 25 years. Who's won the 100 meters, the 200 meters, the 400 meters, the 10,000 meters, and the marathons? I mean, Mo Farah won it. I mean, boy, you know, I mean, the English love him, don't they?
okay. Well, if
I could have sworn he'd come from some other African country.
okay. Well, the point I'm making is,
But you can have him.
and it's not
You can have him and all that, and selling a few t-shirts.
Mo. Would you like to comment on the other Mo?
It's tough to fuddle a name as large as Mo Farah when he's done so much, not just on the track but away from it as well. I don't look at him as a black man. I look at him as Mo Farah, who's achieved what he's achieved. When I look at sport, I think about sporting ethics. I don't look at. I mean, let's go back to politics and sport, where me and you were having a conversation previously. With what happened in Moscow, etc., etc. For me, sport is sport.
Why happened in Moscow? Please enlighten the room here.
Before we go to that, I must ask the question: is it easier to be a Mo than a Mohammed in sport? Is that a factor?
See, you must be reading my mind. The reason I'm highlighting Mo is for obvious reasons.
Okay. Is that a factor?
Of course it is.
Mohammed.
I don't know. Like, my name was shortened just at school, just as a nickname. But then you've got Benjamin down to Ben. You've got loads of nicknames. I can't really say it's influenced me in any way. Whether Mohammed Farah or whether it was Mo Farah before he even came to the country.
But I've never heard Mohammed Farah. I've never heard that. I never ever heard that.
I'm presuming that his name is Mohammed, but I'm just asking the question in these hard times of Islamophobia and racism: is it easier to be a Mo than a Mohammed?
Of course it is.
Would it have been different? Would he have been the nation's favourite?
Of course it is. He's selling himself, isn't he?
Well,
He's got to get sponsors in, isn't he? So he's got to be Mo.
What's your take, Jude?
My personal take on it is
Go on.
Okay, I'll be brutally honest.
Please do. Please, we like being honest.
I
like honesty.
Thought that as a ambassador for Islam and a great role model who is a family man and has been taken to heart by the nation.
Spit it out, will you?
Come on, man. We're called the Late Show for a reason. I don't like to think that he's contracted it to Mo rather than Mohammed due to the fact that he's hiding that he's Muslim or he doesn't want to advertise it. To be fair to the guy, he prostrates in celebration after he's won a race. He makes sajda. So he is open about the fact he's Muslim. And is that a good or a bad thing? I don't know.
Disagree.
Tell me why.
He's been advised to be called Mo, otherwise he'd be called Mohammed.
Who advised him?
His advisors, the sponsors, the sellers. They know if people...
Would they also not advise him don't make sajda of the nation?
Maybe he likes to be called Mo. I mean, I know plenty of Mohammeds who don't mind be calling Mo or Moo or whatever.
Yeah, I'm throwing it out there.
There's Mohammeds that they don't mind.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just making a point. Why does he not call himself Mohammed? That's his name.
Because I said it. Some people don't mind.
But why?
Are we reading too much into it?
Say again?
That's Sajid.
I don't call myself Soggy. I never introduced myself to you as Soggy. When did you ever say? When did I ever say Sadiq and I'm Soggy? Thank you.
But you haven't rectified that either.
I always have.
You by Soggy.
No, I always have. My name's Sergeant. Okay. I introduced myself as Sergeant. Yeah, I never said hi. I'm Soggy.
Okay, we got a text in.
Wait, I'm on a point here.
Your Facebook profile says.
What's that? No, that's people that have come to that. The reason I put Soggy in the middle is people have been looking for me on Facebook from school days, and they've been. I'll be honest with you. When I on my last day of school, the brother come up to me and said, "Bro, if I need to look you up in the future, I don't want to be funny, but what's your name?" I got that quite a few times, but here again we're coming to this. I want to throwing things into the mix. Yeah. What would sell, Mohammed Farah or Mo Farah?
I don't think it makes a difference, to be honest with you.
Of course it makes a
no,
difference.
it doesn't.
Of course.
Soggy. Listen, bro.
That's your opinion.
No, Soggy. That's got nothing to do. That's irrelevant.
No, we got the studio footage.
That's irrelevant.
Okay,
That's
we'll take a vote.
Let me say my bit. Let me say my bit. Let me say my bit now. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant if he's going to be called Mo or Mohammed. Do you know why? Because he's still winning. When he stops winning, then we'll find out.
Then we'll call him Mohammed. Then he'll be Mohammed.
No, but
then he'll be Mohammed back to Somalia. I'm telling you.
But then who cares?
They take his citizenship off him.
But that's what I'm saying. Then who cares? Will anybody care? But
Soggy, you have to understand. He put himself in that position.
I understand.
He put himself in that position, so
understand that.
you're going to become a scapegoat.
He put himself in that position to get sponsors to sell himself in order to be who he is. Otherwise, if he was Mohammed Farah, he'll be in the background. They wouldn't be advertising. They wouldn't love the nation. Wouldn't love him as much. I guarantee you that. It's a fact.
The nation will always love you as long as you keep winning
Nation doesn't
and
love
do
me.
as they want.
Does nation love Mozambique? I rest my case. The nation will. Islam is hated out there, bro. You got to wake up. I'm telling you. You got people got to wake up.
Soggy, I don't think Mo Farah's got anything to do with anything.
And so they named him Mohammed for the fun of it. They found this black kid in Somalia and thought, let's name him Mohammed.
He came to the UK for asylum. Was it asylum he came?
Well, so why didn't he change his name to Tony then?
I think
this is going a bit.
The fact that we're having this conversation and it is a talking point, it shows you that it is politically charged and people.
Of course, it's political. Of course, it is.
God knows his intentions. Like I said, the man prostrated in front of the camera. For me, that's a sign that he's proud of his religion.
No disrespect. 75% of the country don't know what the hell that is. They know what he's doing.
They might not know.
What does that mean?
I thought that was part of it.
I don't know what that is.
Well, that actually started out. It's called the Mobot.
Yeah.
And it was done by one of the presenters.
That's right. Yeah. But is that a religious? Is that a religious thing or icon or something?
It's just that's a Mo Farah thing only.
Yeah, I know that. But I'm just putting it out there. Cause you can't be boring. We can't all have the same views here.
You mentioned the Mobot, but then you mentioned the Sajda as well. If people are like, "What's that?" The Mobot, then they're going to ask what the Sajda is as well.
This is my point. This is what I'm saying to you. This is my point.
Gary Lineker put his foot in his mouth when a player made such a celebration after scoring a goal in a football match. He compared it to eating grass or something. But that's ignorance.
Yeah, and this is my point. 75% of the country ain't got a clue what it is.
Okay, well, hopefully...
I think they do. I think people do have an idea what it is, but, we're living in a society where religion is, sort of, let's not talk about this, it's own private thing and leave it at home. That's it,
Here. Only joking. Right, got a text just come in. Just a comment, at least Asian guys get a chance to play at some point. There is a bigger prejudice against girls. How many Asian females can you say in any of the sports?
Who cares?
Any of the sports mentioned so far seems a bit unfair there. Soggy.
What's the difference between sexism and racism, Soggy? Or fascism? Any sort of...
I have absolutely nothing against women in sport.
That's not the impression I just got.
Say it?
That's not the impression I just got.
No, but the ones that make noise are the ones that don't do nothing.
I completely disagree with that.
The ones that participate, they participate.
No, not at all. This is why I'm getting. This is why I came with Pride and Prejudice.
Go on, then. Let me hear your view.
Cultural, influences and all
that. Oh, that matters. Of course it does. Bending like Beckham, for example. But people that want to.
That's just bringing something to attention, though.
For you as a man to say that about women is like me as a white man saying, well, those Asians should just get on and play football. If they were good enough, they were good enough.
If they could play football, they'd be playing football, wouldn't they?
But it's not as simple as that. I don't understand what it's like to be an Asian trying to make it as a footballer. You don't understand what it's like for a woman to try and play football or any other sport for that matter.
Barbara.
I think the text that just came in was a woman's view, though.
Yeah, and we dismissed it. Who cares?
No, it wasn't.
On the Late Show.
No, to me, the women I know in sport, they get on with it. There was a documentary last night about that boxer, female that won that gold medal.
Yeah.
Like you said, I just got on with it. I kept pestering the coach. I wanted to box. I thought I was a good boxer.
Look, I think the people that make it through, they are so determined. They don't care whether they're black, white, male, female. They're just going to do it. But there are barriers, there are obstacles all along the way for women and for ethnic minorities.
There are women karate clubs, football clubs,
Yeah, but you
hockey
can't go
clubs.
end of story there. I mean, one of the things that is quite predominant in our culture, in Islam, is that paradise is found at your mother's feet. Is that correct or incorrect?
Correct.
Correct, yeah? So, therefore, you want to make your parents happy. What if this woman who's just texted in was just making their parents happy by not pursuing sport?
That's merciful of her. She can play wherever she wants to do in paradise, inshallah, when the time is up.
Okay, this is why I brought up Pride and Prejudice within our culture, etc., etc. It's about our culture possibly changing a little, I'd hope. 10, 15 years ago, let's go.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, this is what we're going to get to now. It's probably going to that direction.
Is it?
Where do we draw the line now? I mean, do we compromise our faith to go and go for a dream that's more worldly, like, and you're compromising your faith in many ways? I mean, do we go that route? I mean, is that healthy?
I don't think you need to compromise your faith to play a
But
sport.
you do compromise.
Unless
You do
you're a
compromise.
narrow-minded
Let me give you-
person
let me
that
give you an
thinks that
example. Let me
only
give you-
swimming, wrestling and horse
No,
riding
let
and
me give you-
archery are halal and the
there's
rest
a lot more
is,
to it. There is a
well,
lot
tell
more.
me the
There's
rest.
a lot more
I'm
to
ready
it. There's a
to
lot more to it. If you're involved in team sports, for example, we know that there's a lot of betting, gambling going on. We know there's a lot of alcohol consumption going on. You know, we know there's a lot of free mixing going on. There's music going on. There's all sorts of going ons at these events. You know, and these people are gathered to come and see you. So you are, in a way, a
How do you mean
representative.
you? Who's you? What do you mean?
You, the sports person, the performer.
Oh, okay.
You know, this is something that's been pointed out to me. You know, are you willing to compromise your faith that much? You know, just so you can fulfill your egotistical dream? Because a lot of these, a lot of sport, yeah, a lot of sport, you know, is driven for that, isn't it? I mean, it's your ego, isn't it? You want to fulfill your dream, your desire, you know, but are you compromising your faith?
That's the subject for.
That's the sister. That's the sister or the male who takes that in. That's what they have to think about. You know, is it worth compromising your faith, your religion?
That's what each and every single one of us has to think about.
Yeah.
Well said, B.A. Well said. How's Steve? So.
But maybe I'm a bit bitter in a way because obviously I'm at a stage in my life now where obviously I'm not going to get to touch that dream, so I'm being probably a bit pessimistic and I'm probably killing youngsters' dreams. Maybe it could be that.
It ain't over till it's over. Look, I can name. I'm a boxing fan, and I can name countless Muslim boxing champions. And I think the discipline, the self-control that a religion like Islam gives an individual will set them up. Will set them in with a good chance to be a champion. If you're not drinking alcohol, you've got a head start over other people. If you've got a structure to your day. If you're looking after your body as well as.
But
your
Julian, I
mind
mean,
and soul.
boxers, regardless of religion, they have that lifestyle anyway. You cannot. Boxing is a sport where you cannot shortcut. You know, if you think that you're going to have a little drink, you know, in a pub here and there,
Well,
it's not going to happen.
I think there is something about the Muslim that disposes him to being more likely to be a boxing champion.
That's fair enough, and I want to disagree slightly there that it's not boxing as opposed to other sports, it's elite athletes. The elite athlete that wants to achieve needs to have such discipline, and where Julian's coming in is you get that discipline from our faith, I think.
Yeah.
You do, yeah.
You do. Without a doubt. Well said.
Who's ready for a quiz?
I want to get
BA's got.
I want to get Chechi on the mic because I want to hear his opinion really on professional sport as a whole, you know, and where do you think it really stands, you know, within our faith,
On our faith.
you know. I think you probably have a good opinion on something like this.
You got a TV in your hand or what?
That's TV, mate. Just record you.
That's a big thing there, boy.
Am I live?
You're live.
Just about.
Assalamu alaikum.
Right, so
Fans, folks, listen to the Late Show. It's been a while. So yeah, where shall I start? What do you want to know?
Well, sport really. I mean, you know, the brothers come on today, and he's talking about prejudice and racism or whatnot in sport. But you know, firstly, we have to look at, you know, as a community or as individuals. Firstly, we have to look at what our core belief is, and our core belief is obviously Islam. And where does Islam stand? You know, with professional sport, because there's a lot of sacrifice involved in reaching, you know, to that pedestal or becoming a professional athlete. Is there a big compromise? Is it, you know, is it really worth the journey?
Well, you know, I mean, for myself, growing up as well, you know, Sajid, Soggy, and from you know, in the 80s, I mean, yeah, we all were great fans of football, cricket, probably, you know, I mean, you dream of what you watch it all the time. You didn't have that many channels in those days, but you got to look at the culture. Even you're talking Islam now, but in the 80s, it wasn't the Islam we know now. There was no influence of Islam for us. It was apart from, you know, go to the mosque or go to the auntie where you would learn to read, but there was no Islam. It was more the culture of being, because our parents came here for economic reasons. Yeah. So there was no dreaming of being a footballer or cricketer. It was like, go to school, study hard, and that's it. Apart from Soggy had some dreams, and other than that, there was all I can say is cultural level. There was no, even if you had the dreams of being a footballer, they would just nip it in the bud.
They would smash it down.
There was no way they're going to let you become anything other than, you know what I mean. Even though you become a taxi driver or something, you know what I mean. Only a few people might have succeeded in, you know, getting decent jobs, becoming doctors or dentists or whatever, accountants. But the rest, I think, it was just the parents killed a lot of dreams. Probably, if people did have any dreams, hopes, it was parents.
Is that because
Reading?
Is it, I mean,
let's not say there's somebody in Reading, alhamdulillah, Aftab Habib. He played for Middlesex, so let's not say that we haven't had any success. Yeah. You know, Reading alone, alhamdulillah, he played for Middlesex, played for England.
He played for England, yeah.
Why do you think that the parents had that sort of, you know, way of thinking? I mean, let's not be too harsh and say that they knocked down people's dreams, but do you think that they were doing it in a sense of being more safe, you know, rather than trying to think, oh, you know what, come on, son, you know, this is not for us, you know, we're not those sort of people, you know, we're simple people, we just need to work and pay our bills. Is it just the element of safety? They didn't want you to go somewhere where they were just, you're just dreaming.
They never had experience of it. They didn't, you know, of sport. Yeah, it's the understanding of it.
And plus, it was areas you're not really sure where you're going, even if you did go down that. And then if you want to bring Islam into it, and as Soggy mentioned before, it's a big change. Even in school, when we, you know, in the 80s, you go in the showers. Even we brought Muslims, it's like, you know, you don't want to be naked.
No.
And even if you're kids, you get it, because that's how that's even if you're not, you know you're a Muslim, but you don't really see, but you've been told to be shy and stuff like that. So imagine when in football, rugby, there's type of stuff that goes on. And even now, you see now, you might not say Asians are playing, you know, football, Premier League, but look how many Muslims are actually playing in the Premier League from North Africa, West Africa. You got some top, you know, they're some of the best players right now in the Premier League.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
and they're Muslims. Yeah. So let's not knock, you know, Muslims. They're not doing anything. Pakistan is not Muslim, is it, in that sense?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not only Pakistan is a Muslim.
Yeah. Obviously, we can only discuss about what we know, and what we know is Asian community. You know, because obviously that's who we are. That's, you know, the experiences that we have. So.
So, question I'd like to put to yourselves is, do you think that's changed in the last 15 years? Like 15 years ago, we talk about parents not understanding. What about you guys are involved with kids today? Are their parents understanding that sport is so important in their lives, or yes or no, basically?
It's not as important. They understand it. They need it as a part of their education, as recreational. You know, they need to get out and about. You know, whether they turned and develop into something where they think they can pursue it as a career, then you can take it from there. But it's very important to get the kids out to mix with society and to exercise instead of sitting at home playing on their consoles, etc.
And the parents understand that.
Yeah, because I'm a parent myself. I think with the next generation up, if we don't understand it, then
but you run a football team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so do all the parents of the kids in those football teams, do you get excuses?
I do the men's, but with the kids, yes. But again, it's sad because when it came to the kids, it was like babysitting.
Yes, he has 40-year-old kids.
Well, yeah. No, when I do the kids, it's more like babysitting. Instead of the parents staying and encouraging their child, you know, as a child, you want your role model as your father. If you take your son to football and you're like hockey, you want your father to see you, and so you can impress him. But with most time, it's just here's my son, do what you want with him, and it's disheartening to a child. And with most parents, I tell them stay. Encourage your son. It might be shy in certain aspects, and help him develop. He might need to ask a question where he can ask you and you can ask me, instead of, because he might not be able to approach me directly. But yeah, we're living and learning. I think it's more open these days. I don't know what Barbara feels or
Did
Barbara
you say
feels.
you just came from something in the community?
I mean, going back to what you just asked Soggy about, sports and stuff like that. I think nowadays, generally, sports and recreation is looked at, because there's so many bad habits out there now. You've got influence of drugs, alcohol. You're in the clubs. You've got all these sort of negative influences on the youth, and I think now more so, parents do encourage their kids to, they rather see their sons or their daughters doing something positive recreationally than to be sat there, because once the child or the youth gets idle, this is when the problem starts, because there's so much energy. It's the energy, and if that energy is channeled into something positive, it's very easy to go the other way. So now it's more to do with that, to channel your energy in a positive manner. But aspiring to go professional at something, or going on TV and becoming a superstar, I think that's still a way off. I think there's still that element of safety, and I think safety is boring, but you'll be able to create that foundation for your youth to have something for the future, rather than having a undecisive future, thinking, what am I going to do, what am I not going to do. So education is always the foundation. That's what I'm seeing generally anyway.
Good that there's a growth in it.
There is growth, there is growth,
So.
Chechi, I mean, the question was asked actually. Good that you're here. Mashallah, the brother has 5 daughters. Five daughters, mashallah. 6 kids. So the question was asked about Asian women in sport. What are your opinions?
Yeah, let them play football, rugby, wherever they can. But again, it has to be boundaries, isn't it? It's like, as we all know as Muslims, we know there's certain boundaries. Even if the last Olympics, you saw some Muslim countries competing, and they had certain uniform, designed for, say, swimming, or I think athletics even.
There was judo as well.
They had, and judo, yeah. So still, where they're, the scholars would allow it, you can compete, and obviously he's not competing against men. It's allowed. We should encourage our women. It's not just a man thing. There are this stuff you see when it's women can't do it. It's cultural, whether it's come from Pakistan, India, the African countries. Even that women are suppressed. That's all cultural. Don't try to let the West teach you that they're very advanced in for the women's rights, because they only varied 100 years ago to women have rights. Islam's given rights 1400 years ago to the women. So it's only when you come here you think, okay, the East is always corrupting the women or not letting them do anything. But generally, we should let the women
let them loose from the kitchen now and again.
Yeah, now let them out the kitchen. Yeah, well, there's a garden as well.
It's only healthy. That's well.
No, alhamdulillah, we should. But as long as it's something they want to do, and it's not pushing. But if you look at a lot of people who actually, it doesn't matter which country they're from, but they're really been successful with this tennis, football. You see, most of the time, it's the parents wanted that child to become something. Whether it's a tennis player, look at most of them. All greatest tennis players, probably from young age, have been playing, like Becker. Even from a young age, he was.
He won Wimbledon at 16, didn't he?
Yeah, 17 he won Wimbledon. Just shows you it was more to do with their parents, because you see images of the Williams sisters. 6 years old, they're playing. Even golfers from 6 years old
playing golf.
And really, it's not the child wanted it; it was the parent. And I'm a great believer that you should pursue what the child, when you see the interest in the child that they like, whether it's maths, whether it could be sports, and you see success, then you push them, you help them. But if they don't like it, don't push them.
Don't push them, that's right, yeah.
You know, you look at the Indian community where there's the Sikh and the Hindu, you see a lot of them are doctors, dentists, and I've met so many of them, they say, oh, my dad wanted me to become a dentist or doctor. I didn't want to be a doctor. You know, and the Pakistani community is a bit different, but, you know, my dad wanted to be a taxi driver, and I became a taxi driver. But generally, alhamdulillah, it's improving, I think. Our you know, Pakistani community is lifting, is moving away from that culture now. But generally, yeah, I think that's just certain people want to give you the idea that Islam, you know, suppresses the woman. Islam is the one that gave the rights to the women. It's our weakness, probably, if it is.
Good point. Give me that. Julian.
Right, so are you ready?
Yes, I want to break the show up in a little bit and
round it off with a
I want to touch on the Muslim thing. So Chechi, don't disappear. Just a little 5-minute thing on that. But yeah, go for it, Julian. The floor is all yours.
We're gonna break it up a little bit.
Yeah, let's break it up a little
Okay,
bit.
3 questions each, all on your specialist subjects.
Okay.
How about that?
What's Barber's special subject?
Well, boxing, obviously.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, let's try it.
Barber,
Okay.
Right, 3 questions each. Keep the score.
Who's it? S3 here.
Yeah. May the best man win.
I don't know nothing about hockey and boxing.
Football. You'll be football.
Home.
All right.
Home, Bob.
You're all going home. Barber, at age 20, Mike Tyson became the youngest ever heavyweight to win a version of the world title. But who did he beat to win that title?
Trevor Berbick.
Trevor Berbick is correct. 1 point for Barber.
that one.
All right, Soggy.
Okay, home.
Home in 1930. Which country became the first nation to host the World Cup?
Uruguay.
Well done.
That's a good one, Sogs. That's a good one, actually. You
Right,
got
Mo,
that.
hockey question.
Which
Which field hockey defender and penalty corner specialist is the highest goal scorer in the history of field hockey?
Give me the mic.
Men or women?
In men, of course.
Defender.
Yeah. With a current goal tally of 348 as of August.
So that's Sahel Abbas.
Yes, it is.
There you go.
Well done.
Who?
It's Sahel Abbas.
Wow.
1 apiece.
I thought it was a cricketer.
No.
That's Armour Sohail. That was
Boss, and it got double century. It doesn't matter. Over here. I know. It's a
Barber.
joke.
Go on.
You've got to keep it light-hearted, haven't you? Go on, Julian.
God,
Away.
this is very serious. Muhammad Ali won the world title 3 times, but who was his last ever opponent?
Ooh.
Last ever opponent.
Who he lost to?
Berbick.
Which Berbick?
Trevor Berbick.
Yes, correct. Trevor Berbick. Good. 2 points. Right, Soggy. In 1930, Uruguay hosted the World Cup, but which nation won the World Cup that year?
Brazil.
Soggy, I'm afraid it was Uruguay.
Uruguay.
No score there. You get the next one. No.
I wasn't around then.
Second
days.
question. In field hockey, a technique first appearing in the 1956 Olympics consisted of pushing the ball rapidly from right to left and then from left to right repeatedly by turning the hockey stick. Once mastered, it is a very good way to beat your opponent. What is the name of that technique?
Indian dribble.
Well done, he's got the point. Indian dribble.
Can you do
Indeed.
I can do most things.
Okay.
Wow.
Right, Barber.
Is that Arab?
Hope you're ready for this. Which former heavyweight champion was murdered in Jamaica in 2006?
Oh my.
Trevor Berbick. Well done, he's got one. Soggy, are you ready?
Go on.
Luis Suarez plays for Liverpool. I've started, so I'll finish. But which country does he represent at international level?
That's a tough one. Uruguay.
Okay, Uruguay. So it's 3 points for Soggy.
Two.
Just two. 3, 2. Mo to tie.
Go away.
To go for gold.
Go away.
This year's 2014 Men's Hockey World Cup is being hosted by which country? No pressure.
This year's
This year.
Netherlands.
Sorry, Mo. The answer is Holland. Barber wins it. It was Trevor Berbick.
Trevor Berbick. I like Trevor Berbick.
Technicalities.
You were close. Sorry.
I like that. I enjoyed that, actually. That's quite good.
I enjoyed it as well.
Yeah. Thanks. That was a good one. So, yes, on a serious note now.
Uruguay.
Okay, so should we get a bit serious now?
I wasn't. Okay. Well, after light-hearted. Okay, go on. It's all yours. The floor is yours, BA.
The floor is mine.
Do as you
Okay.
wish, babe.
As many of you may have seen, heard, and seen some more, this serious issue of Brother Mozambique, who was detained, I believe, yesterday. No charge. Seems a bit of a conspiracy. We like to talk about conspiracies. One of those, and we just need to create as much awareness as possible in this matter. The brothers already served time in
5 years in Guantanamo, no charge.
5 years, no charge, and now they seem to. Sorry, 3 years. Soggy,
What's that?
you got another thing wrong today.
He said 5 years Guantanamo, didn't he?
3.
Was it 3? You sure?
You obviously didn't read the book.
2 years.
Where did they get
2 years
5?
in Bagram.
Oh yeah, no, sorry, he was captive for 5 years. Okay, I apologise. 3 years. Okay, go on, carry on.
Yeah, so
Because I'm going by the.
he already done time in Guantanamo Bay,
Years.
and they released him without charge, and he never had any charges. And on top of that, they gave him an undisclosed amount of money, I believe, Soggy.
This came out only a few days ago. I think
Okay.
he got out of court settlement.
Okay, out of court settlement he received from the government as well.
How many millions, Chet? Considering he's your right hand duty.
It's undisclosed. That shouldn't matter anyway. That's irrelevant.
That highlight.
No, to me it matters because it shows the character of the person. If someone's getting paid X amount of money and he knows he's being watched by the MI5 round the clock 20, why would he do what they're accusing him of doing? I mean, come on. You're an intelligent man. Come, step forward. Don't be shy. I got texts saying people, sorry bro, we're gonna stop donating to you. This is serious. I show you the text. Sorry, we're gonna stop donating to you because we might be baiting ourselves up. Subhanallah.
Okay, we'll come to that in a while. But
Look what
let's be
happened,
clear,
Mozambique.
Mozambique, he's been to Reading a few times because of the events we've done through the.
You can say he's your friend. You can say.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, he's my brother, close person I know. But let's be clear, as Barbara explained, 3 years in Guantanamo, 1 year in Bagram airport, which is Afghanistan. He spent, and then he was released, no charge. When he was brought back, he was just held for a few hours, then released, and he wasn't allowed to travel maybe for a few years, but after that he was given his passport. He's free to do what he wants, and when he returned, he joined an organisation called Cage Prisoners, which is a human rights organisation. They help. Originally it was based on helping people who were, taken to Guantanamo for them to be returned back to their families, their countries, whichever country they were from. And ever since he's been, now it's called Cage UK, formerly known as Cage Prisoners, and he's the outreach director of that organisation. Even when he went to Syria, what he's been accused of is basically what they would call terrorist activity or attending a training camp in Syria. When he actually went to Syria, which is over a year and a half ago, he actually he had to get permission from them to go.
To travel, that's right.
To travel to Syria. So they said, yeah, fine, you can go. And why was he in Syria for 6 months? Because he's actually doing research, but that's what Cage Prison do. They research on stuff which to do with America, the torture stuff they do in Guantanamo, rendition stuff they were doing, torture by proxy in obviously countries like Syria. That was helping countries like the UK and America to torture people, to extract information from them. So that was the reason he was traveling there. And obviously today or tomorrow, I think they actually Cage are releasing a report on Syria, on what was happening over there, the prisons, etc., that were used for the torture. So it seems timely that he's been arrested, and obviously because he's a very high-profile figure, and he's obviously his name's been released, but the other 3 people, their names have not been released, which doesn't make sense if they're people. And again, we have to be clear. Recently, there was an event in Reading, organised by Community Projects, where we had a a well-known speaker, Zahir Mahmood, came down, and he was talking about Syria, and he actually had travelled to Syria. That just shows you that somebody like him is what you would call another person that could be arrested easily, because obviously Mozambique travelled to Syria, so that person can be classed. And Soggy, yourself, you've been supporting the cause
I haven't been to Syria.
You've been supporting the cause of Syria. We all have, generally, whether it's Muslims or non-Muslims, we know, have donated towards Syria, whether it's money, clothing, whatever they can. So does that mean that we all are guilty by association of supporting people who are being oppressed? And today, a lot of people, anybody on Twitter, Facebook, you might have seen a apocalyptic kind of picture of mass exodus of people in Damascus. If you see that picture, that is just enough to make you cry.
Mate, there's heartbreaking things going on out there. The little footage that gets leaked. There's a footage on BBC they done the other day where the old are just like, you know, that is subhanAllah.
I mean, a few months back, you know, the issue of, you know, the leaked documents, you had the Guardian, you had the Snowden issue, and recently the David Miranda, who's, you know, he worked with this Greenwald guy, the one who released a lot of the kind of leaked information. He was arrested at Heathrow. It's the same issue which Muslims have been going through. Generally, anybody who's been travelling, you know, when they go back to Pakistan, you go to Saudi, wherever it is, on your return, you know, you're stopped by a Schedule 7 rule, where they have the right to hold you without your solicitor being present, and they can ask you whatever questions you want. And that rule seems to be made only for Muslims or anybody who they think, like obviously David Miranda not being a Muslim, but he was held under the same rule, meaning that you're a danger to our security, national security, so we don't like you, we do what we want to you. You know,
so what have they charged Mosen with? What's the latest that you heard? And what is his... What can we do to show support?
Well, we can obviously... they're holding a demonstration in Birmingham, West Midlands Police, outside the headquarters of West Midlands Police Station, 12 p.m.
On
Saturday, so anybody who wants to go there can support it. The Cage is organising it with Stop the War movement and a few other organisations, human rights organisations, and a few speakers will be there to highlight the issue. I mean, this has got to stop. Where it seems there's one law for one set of people and there's another law for the Muslims now, and we've known maybe the last 5 years this has been happening. You know, it's getting harder and harder for Muslims generally. But on a day-to-day basis, generally, I think the average non-Muslim out there, you know, Julian's here, he's part of, you know, the Reading community, he knows Muslims, we know him, other people know him, but generally you don't really see a problem unless when issues like this, or Mozambique being arrested, other people being arrested, but their cases get highlighted so widely across newspapers, it just thinks that only these people are the crazy people out there, nobody else.
Yeah, that's a good point actually, that's a good point.
You know, EDL have done silly things.
Yeah, I mean, when you made an excellent point there, when you see certain individuals on news, you think it's only happening to them, that these individuals are the nut jobs.
Yeah.
But you know, it's happening on a grander scale, small, all over the country.
No, we can go to like the grooming cases where they've targeted, it's the Pakistani community, like where there's a disease within the Pakistani men that, you know, but they don't highlight when the white men.
Pakistani, was he? Ian Huntley was a Pakistani.
Yeah, no, but they use the recent cases.
Look how much paedophilia is there out there. You know, I mean, we're just a drop. Pakistani grooming thing is just a drop in the ocean. It's probably just a handful of people doing it, but it gets highlighted as though it's in every community.
Yeah, but when you control the media, you can highlight people how you want.
Correct, yeah.
And the recent case, you know, the last week we had the Daily Mail, the guy Little John, the idiot who wrote a very childish article on the Legoland event that was going to happen where Muslims had hired it. I mean, Legoland, anybody who can afford to hire it just for their business, their corporate firm, there's what's wrong with that? So obviously these ignorant people who haven't got any professionalism in them and targeted, you know, the organisation that had arranged it, but now Legoland's cancelled it. That shows how, you know, strong mentality they have, because the similar thing actually happened. A lot of people forget Chesington had the same event last year, or I think just 6 months ago. They had similar pressure, but they said no, we're not going to fold. But Legoland obviously thinking we're such a big brand that no, this is a normal community that lives in this country. You pay taxes, we operate normally, unless you want to prove that this person who heads that organisation is a hate preacher. But the funny thing, they were talking about hate preacher, but the whole article was hating on a nation that consists of 1.5 billion people.
Yeah.
That's a big number you're attacking, that many Muslims, you know what I mean? So it just shows you that there's, you know what I mean, certain levels in this country, there's this a certain hate that's happening to the Muslims, and generally I think it's not just Muslims have to wake up. I think the non-Muslims around us have to see that hate and where's it coming from, what's the reason behind this hate.
They also have to ask questions as well. They cannot just blindly just accept whatever they've been told, which is a big problem as well.
When certain people hold control on the mass media, it's very difficult because whatever you feed them.
Yeah.
You know, most people, when you say, I read that in the paper, oh, I saw that.
That's right, yeah.
Whatever you read, it means you have to believe
they
it.
They take it as gospel, they do.
Because, I mean, the individual's not interested, I mean, because everyone's so consumed with their own life that they'll just take up whatever you tell them, and they just can't be bothered to look into anything. You know, it's like, oh yeah, those guys, or those guys again.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what's shown on the news repetitively every day.
But then going back to what you said, Soggy, in the beginning about some people saying they don't want to give you money. They're not giving you money. They were giving you money for something they believe in.
Yeah.
If they believe, when they're giving, you give anytime. If you think we all have given money to charity, whether it's to cancer, whether it's to wherever it is. Now Syria, we're giving money to. There was a few years. It was Gaza. A lot of people give money to. So it's not just Muslims are giving money.
It's humanity. It's
It's so shall we accuse the UK government, who I'm sure I heard figures this morning, how much money they've spent supporting the people who are being oppressed? You know, it's in the millions, isn't it? So who's giving more money to the people who are being oppressed than this small band of Muslims in this country are doing their bit to support that cause there? So if Mozambique is somebody who you're saying he's supporting, what they would say, they say he's supporting terrorism in Syria, so then it means all the other Muslims are doing the same thing because we're giving our money to these oppressed people there. But what are you doing the same thing? It doesn't make sense. Who are you giving your money to? Is there certain set people say, oh, we're not terrorists, and these set people are terrorists over there? Nobody goes around with a label on their sleeve saying, oh, we're Al-Qaeda, we're the terrorists, so we're not with these people. No, they don't. There's out there the people. You go to that country right now, like that brother who came last week and he explained the suffering he's seen. It's just horrendous, you know, how those people are surviving right now. So the case, you know, I mean, of Mozambique is just, you know, he's been saying it for time. That it's just a matter of time when, you know, I mean, he knew that it was going to happen.
I mean, I like his Facebook status before they arrested him. I highlighted that. Forget
Knowing too much
is a curse. I think they just want to shut him up, bro. I think he just gone. He must know a lot of things which they don't want highlighted.
Well, it's a case of obviously the Shakir.
That's what I'm saying.
Who basically has a family in this country.
What's that? 12 years now?
The 2001, 2002.
We're
looking at 12 years.
Yeah, 12 plus.
12 years, yeah. I mean, same with him, because obviously he's seen torture there. He's seen probably people being killed. MI6 have visited him so many times, and he's probably seen, you know, he knows too much, so you can see why the government doesn't really want him to come back here, because what happens here is then you got movement, freedom to say what you want. Cage will use him, other organisations will use him.
Correct, yeah.
So there's danger there. So Mozambique, he said he's seen, you know, people murdered in front of him. So it's difficult, but I think generally we all should be supporting, you know, Mozambique and Cage itself, and see what we can do.
That's what I want to highlight. Don't think because they've arrested him he's automatically guilty, that he's a bad person, that, you know, this media will make you believe whatever. So, you know, what we're saying is support the brother, make dua for him, inshallah, and make it easier on him. And, you know, we can't shy away from this. A lot of people are like shying away, thinking, oh, anything to do with Syria is, you know, we're doing something wrong kind of thing, and shying away. So, you know, I'm just saying, stay strong in your belief, you know. It could be us. Well, they could come for us tomorrow. We don't know.
Well, it can be anybody, isn't it? I mean...
Yeah.
Is that
don't be scared to tell the truth or have an opinion, you know. If you don't be a sheep, you know. If they're going to come for you, they're going to come for you, you know. So keep it real and keep it truth, and inshallah just make dua for the brother, like you know him personally. I mean, you know, someone said that to me about him, I would laugh in their face. But very intelligent bloke, very articulate in what he's doing, helping people. So, you know, for him knowing that he's being watched 24/7, would he be stupid enough to do what they're charging him for? You know.
Yeah, but what they charge? This is the funny. Let's talk about what the charge is. Is there a crime to travel to a country that you
got permission to travel?
You got permission to travel to, and then what they're accusing you of. How would you prove what he has been doing over there? This is the silly thing. How do you prove that?
What there's no charge against him, is there? They were arrested him for going to Syria to a training camp, terrorist training camp.
But what does it mean?
I don't know,
If you go there, there's loads of camps, and there might be camps where they're refugee camps. So what type of camps are they talking about? Isn't it blatantly says terrorist training camp on the top, and you go in there? This is not carry on, is it?
Hidey.
So people have to be, vigilant and be strong and realise that, the law sometimes it will play against you, but you have to stay strong and, support, Muslims, support Cage, the organisation, Cage UK, and support there's Amnesty International, all these organisations.
Any humane organisation out there we should support. So, inshallah, let's make dua for the brother. I mean, we'll follow her up maybe next week if we find out what's going on, etc.
Yeah. But as far as I know, I think he'd be released according to the norms of how they operate, arresting people. See, a lot of the time, when you do hear about these arrests, you never hear that they've actually released the person and he or she wasn't charged. You never hear that. But you hear, obviously, when they get arrested and they show the tents outside their house and get excited about it.
Mo, I want to take this opportunity to thank you very much for coming in, for your insight into hockey.
No problem.
Learned a hell of a lot. Appreciate your time, bro.
Thank you for having me.
It's not easy.
Sorry you lost the quiz, man.
Yes, you should have set that up for him to win.
I think it's a very interesting topic. Something that can always be discussed again, and it's something that doesn't go away either.
They will never go away. Inshallah, if we have I'm trying to line up a better show with more professional people like yourself in the field of hockey, football, rugby, whatever sport it be, as to get the general outlook. So when I can get that organised, I'll get Judy to give you a shout. Judy, anything from yourself?
Looking forward to next week. We'll go deep on the topic we just touched upon. As for tonight, it was nice to have a little bit of light-hearted relief, and keep tuned into the late show.
What's happening with the Wellbeing Show, bro? Don't be shy. You're not on camera.
Yeah, just a one-off show this week. I'm going to keep you posted.
One-off? Why is one-off? What's going on? Busy?
Yeah.
Hey? Doing what?
Look after the kids, man.
Oh, is it?
He's a daddy again. You know what that means.
Okay.
Sign off, Soggy. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, inshallah. This time next week, 9:30, the late show. Be tuned. So if you're out there somewhere listening, we'll get back to you. Organise a post of the flyer, whatever you've got to do. Get the phone lines in the studio working. Loads of people texting in, wanting to listen to my beautiful voice and have an interaction one-to-one. So I'll leave that up to you, inshallah. Thank you. Allah Hafiz. See you next week.